I wanted to start to talk about drugs. Um, because I'm the super famous rock star and I'm an adult, and I do have some drugs around me in my life. Um, the first that I could talk about maybe are psychedelics. And there's actually there's such a stigma about psychedelics. And while I start this off, I should mention, that drugs are for healthy adults. And uh, through the year 18 of my life, I didn't have anything like drugs around me. And I got into a really, really good school, UW-Madison. And I got to do well in classes and take honors classes. And around the time I got into the school, it was the 20th best college in the whole entire world. And so I got to be a really smart kid and really good at sports. And all I would do growing up is, most of the time I would be so excited about the sports. I could have even gotten better grades and maybe even applied to a harder school, by the way. But I got to get into UW-Madison. And I was around 20 or so in my class rank. And we had, in high school, and we had probably, 230 kids or so in the class. We had close to like 1,000 in the whole school. And so what you'll find out there is you'll find this flower child generation. If you look on the internet, the hippie movement, LSD, and everything like that. And you could maybe find people like Steve Jobs on the internet, or Silicon Valley, really smart people who make, tech and software that we use today, on our smartphones and stuff like that. And that's not actually ever really what's focused on, are the, business leaders in America to do with psychedelics. However, you can find those conversations out there on the internet for healthy adults, or for adults that are looking to take care of themselves. There are some states that have legal mushrooms, and LSD isn't actually legal in the United States. Or no, it's actually totally decriminalized in Oregon, I believe. So, many marijuana dealers, normal, casual marijuana dealers, will actually have possibly psychedelics around them. So they're not as uncommon as you might think, actually. So what you'll find, I guess, this hippie generation, they were too blunt with how flowery they were compared to everybody else, how peaceful they were, and it looks like it rubbed the United States the wrong way. However, they just came out as flower children. And I guess, I'm more blunt. Maybe not, because like John Lennon and stuff. But for some reason, that movement was denied. So I'm more blunt because they were already right about legalizing medicines for people. I'm more blunt because they were already right. It was so long ago in the past. Shoot, Chance the Rapper's pretty blunt about that as well. Probably because the people, the flower children in the past were already right. So, as you see states legalize or decriminalize LSD and mushrooms, maybe you'll find people that are even more blunt. I don't know. I just made a song. Like cocky, Don't have any of these things around me at this time, but I actually have taken LSD myself. And so I wanted to talk about that. And again, just for adults. And I mean, if kids are out there getting in trouble or like with their parents or whatever, just keep on living in your life, and be a smart person. Because there's territories that decriminalize psychedelics. So why somebody might take a psychedelic is mainly as a antidepressant, a therapeutic. And in my eyes, they should give them a different name even, possibly therapeutic psychedelics. Because the word psychedelic, it sounds like such a party. And maybe that's part of the reason they're so shunned is because they're not even given a different name. Like an antidepressant or a therapeutic, The reason people will actually seek psychedelics out, it's sort of like this. A lot of people plant their own gardens, and they don't even like to get food from the grocery store because there could be bad chemicals. for the human body. And those foods are recalls. Like when you think about drugs, you normally think about a laboratory, right? You think of like some scientist working on a concoction of chemistry. And that's a lot of different compounds put together. And that's what a lot of over-the-counter things are, like antidepressants. And so the reason people will seek these out in our nation's history are actually because, psychedelics you can pull straight from nature, like a mushroom on the ground or a little cactus. LSD is different because they actually have to pull it from this, like a moss. And so all of those are related as psychedelics. In that they're all similar or the same. Nearly to people, in that world. But there's actually like different mushrooms and stuff like that, but most people aren't that versed. You know what I mean? Like there's the peyote, there's the LSD, and the mushrooms that people typically know about for those ones. DMT is something different, and it's not something I actually had myself in my life. The reason you're seeing states decriminalize and sell mushrooms or decriminalize LSD in the United States, it's because, the medicines work for people, responsible adults, and that's why those things happen in the United States after years and years of, locking people away, for instance. There are better people. Okay, well, I researched psychedelics for a couple of years. It had to be like 3 years straight. I searched the internet and I researched psychedelics because I saw all this stuff on Steve Jobs when I was a kid in, documentaries and stuff like that. And then I got into guitar music and I got to see, the hippie movement. So that's the reason, excuse me. I don't know how much this is going to be for you because you're going to, have to research this stuff on your own and be safe about that. I'm a 31-year-old man, for instance, and don't mind moving to Oregon or Colorado because I think they're smart and advantageous to themselves as well, as far as becoming, bigger states in the future for that as well. Marijuana is the most popular to become legal, but sure as shit, psychedelics right away in areas in this country, decriminalized and legalized. You know, so I'm not some maniac or anything like that. However, I am more blunt than past generations because they were already right about legalizing these medicines for humanity. So, the song is My Girl's Not Here, She's at My House. And that's my song about LSD.